Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of Building Moggy Caves, and today we are starting things off at spawn because changes have been made. And I mean seriously big changes. Yes. Um Even though spawn looked good, it was big enough, I didn't like a particular thing. And that is that you know how in Moggy Dungeon there's that castle garden, the one with the big icy mountain. Yeah, it has a big black box around it just so there's no sky, or at least it looks like there's a night sky. And that was visible from spawn, so I've had to cover it up. But I didn't stop there. I decided that the glass roofs on the deep sea area, they might as well lead to like something like water or lake or sea, as the name suggests, deep sea. Then of course there's the dark keep, and I didn't really connect it, but why not add something that looks like a dark keep? So allow me to show you the new spawn. Um, it has a lot. Let's start over here on the right side where there is now a giant lake or an oasis, which actually you can look into Moggy Dungeon from up here. Just like how in Moggy Dungeon you could look up and see a bit of water, I have done this over here and it looks quite nice. What started this project is actually this one over here, where you can still see the big black box if I just fly up. Yep, there it is. That's the box that was bothering me. And now we have an entire castle built around it. If you're thinking about interior, not a lot going on. There is light. There is a little bit of carpet leading between areas. There is a staircase that will lead up and out, so you can actually walk around over here. And this place actually does lead back to Moggy Dungeon. And how? Well, I've installed an elevator. And this is how you can get there. But because it's not entirely finished, and by it I mean spawn, I haven't actually made this accessible to Moggy Dungeon yet. But let's go back up. And let's check out the Dark Keep, which also is actually quite empty on the inside, as you'll see in a moment. But let's just look around it for just a bit. You can see I have made it very dark, and I've used the soul flames because I'm actually this was Sunshow's idea, and I appreciate that idea because it worked out amazing. Let's go inside and you'll see it's very dark. The only light is from up there, making it look very spooky. I'm not quite sure what to do over here, but I might actually put a volcano in or something like that. Just because it will probably make more sense with the whole lava theme over there. But let's focus on today's project, which is the Amethyst theme. Now let's go into that creative world where I always prepare my builds. As per usual, make sure to skip to whatever time is shown on screen right now if you don't want to see the builds just yet, but keep in mind that this time I'll actually do a bit of a tutorial on how to copy these builds over between worlds. So if you're interested in knowing about that, be sure to stay, as I'll be talking about structure blocks. And 3, 2, 1... Here are some of the stuff that I'm planning to build. So what do we start with? Let's actually start with the houses. Don't look at that one failed. We're just gonna build these 3. So let's start off by building the village room. And we'll have to copy this house block by block, unless we don't want to. In that case, we can use a structure block. So how to get a structure block is just give your username and then structure block. It is only available in creative. Then what we're going to need to do is we either need to do corners or the exact size of this house. And let's just do the size of this house, as it might be easier, or at least less challenging with putting the blocks in place. So all we need to do is actually count how many blocks wide and tall this is. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. And I'm going to assume it is the same in that direction. Let's actually do 15 and 15. So let's see, we have to go to save mode. Then structure size will be 15. Let's actually just quickly do 1 and 1 so you can see the structure. Okay, it's gone in this way, so let's actually put it over here. Then we need to go in 15 in that direction as well. So let's see. Okay, unfortunately it's doing the opposite direction of how I want it to go, but that's fine. But because we don't actually have blocks over there, what we can do is change this to 14 and put it over here. Seeing as we don't really need the blocks over here because it's going to be against the wall. Now let's see how tall it is. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Let's see if 19 is the correct one. It was a bit annoying counting with some of the amethyst here and then me counting this block as well. I think it's correct. Maybe it's actually one taller. I think it is. Okay, I think we can do with 18. But either way, it would have been fine. So let's go for 18. So just gonna give it a name, Big Amethyst House. And if you just exit this screen, it will actually just put Minecraft colon over here. But let's save it. And now what we're gonna have to do is go into the files of this world. So the first thing you want to do is when on your computer, just go to the search bar and type in %appdata%. Then the next thing you'll find is .minecraft. Here you go into saves, go to generated, and then go down the rabbit hole and you'll find the file that says, in my case, bigamethysthouse.nbt. Then you want to copy that one over to the world where you want to put it. So if you want to keep it in this world, you don't have to do any of this. But in my case, because I have a different world that I actually want this thing on, I'm going to need to copy it over. Or I can just drag it out and put it into the other save file with, instead of name, I'll actually put it in Moggy Caves. I hope that little tutorial was clear. And now let's take a look at the other structures. So here we have two houses. Here we just have a generic cave, what might look like the way that I want the caves to look. Here we have a giant pixel art or some sort of an amethyst crystal. And here we have a little train, minecart, and a tunnel over there. And here's a crane that actually grabs the amethyst out of the little train. A nice amethyst tree and amethyst mines. So back in this world, and let's actually start building. And this is the room that I have in mind for the village room. Looks maybe a little bit small because it's being, well, the size is being influenced by everything you see over here. But it is quite big of a size. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this corner and we're just going to use the fill command. So let's use this. It will say error because it's incomplete. But we're going to go to the other end and go over here. We're going to change the Y to 74 because I want it to be a lot taller than just this flat surface. And other coordinates, and we'll use deep slate, which is unlike the other builds that I've used stone so far. And here you can see a giant box of deep slate, but as you can see, it is also filled. So let's actually replace every block that is inside of this cube to air. Now we're going to need to change this number to 46 because that's the lowest that we can go. And then we just use air. And just like that, we have a giant empty cube. Now if you watch my tutorial and you actually saw the build, then you know what's going to happen next. We're going to have to copy it into this room. So let's just place it down in the corner over here and enter the structure name. So big Amethyst house. Then we're going to click load and it will show us what area it needs to load in. And I'm pretty sure that this is all the space we need. So let's load it. And it looks like it actually copied it over exactly the way I wanted it to. And just like that, one of the houses has been built. One thing I'll actually do is put a platform below this platform because Deep Slate is rotational. So as you can see, this texture is now different from this texture because it's rotated. Same if I do it this way. And I don't want that. I just want the Deep Slate to be like this whenever I place it down. And because it's rotational, I need to put it down below. But we don't have anything down below here. So let's actually quickly change that to make our lives a little bit easier. So that cave is obviously quite easy to do, seeing as I just need to copy stuff over. The center cave, however, is gonna be quite different because this is where the giant crystal is. So we first of all need to actually create the cave. So let's do the same as over here with the /fill command. So /fill this block, and let's go over to the other side. Let's go over here and let's change that middle number to 74 because that's how tall this room is going to be. And then whatever we want to put there, so Deep Slate. And now let's empty the room. Add in the doors. And let's find the center of this room so we know where to put the crystal. So let's see where this is going to have to go. Alright, so we're looking at 71, 70, and I know for a fact that the highest glass pane is at 69. Nice. So now it's time to lay out a path for the top layer because this is where, of course, everything needs to connect. And what we can do is actually make it go up and down quite a bit. So maybe over here, I'll actually put it up by 1 block. And over here, we actually can put it up to 2 blocks. So now that I have a rough layout of where things are going to be, let's add in some coarse dirt. Because I think this might be a good block to use as a floor in this theme. Or at least as a path choice. And we can see roughly where it is going to be that we actually cannot go or that we can have caves in. And how we're going to make this door go into the lower area, as well as that one. For that, we actually need to kind of change this terrain up. So what I'm going to do is first just let the dirt hang down a little bit. Alright, like that. And instead of using Deep Slate, I think I'll actually just use wool. Because I can use a /fill command to actually replace the wool. And that way I don't have to worry about the, about this. So let's do /fill over here. And over here, let's do Deep Slate. But then be careful because we don't want to hit enter yet. Replace and then red wool. There it is, and boink. So now we can see that these blocks have all been replaced. And now we need a giant hole in the ground. And because people love TNT, let's just use TNT for that. Yeah. So this is quite a nice hole, and let's start decorating it. And because our theme is Amethyst, how could I not use Amethyst? Alright, and with the help of some crying obsidian, which actually blends quite well with the amethyst, we now have two spawners in the middle, and I have decorated this place a bit more with some amethyst clusters and medium amethyst buds. So you can just go down here and pick up the shulker boxes wherever they may be. Probably, let's see, let's actually grab a shulker box over here and let's put one over here. So I've quickly blocked up the entrances just so we can take a look at how this room looks like, and I have done the floor. So now it's looking quite different because of course we have some coarse dirt mixed in with deep slate and some cobbled deep slate. And of course we have some amethyst laying around. We have the big center over there and the higher up area over there. And I quite like how big this room feels. Funny enough, every room is the same size. I mean, every center room at least is the same size. But some of them just look a lot bigger and some of them look a lot smaller just because of how I built around it, of course. But let's drink some milk and see how this looks like. Ooh, pretty dark, but also quite pretty, I must say. Of course, these do give a little bit of light, so that's quite nice. And the enemies that are going to be in this theme are the Enderman and the Endermites. So with how much the Endermites are spawning, I might actually just leave it with the Endermites only. Also because there isn't really an easy way to avoid them, and they're so small they're hard to attack. So they're already quite a tricky mob. And what is going to be special about this room is that it actually is going to go on for a long time in that direction. So what we're going to do is we're going to start off by grabbing all the blocks we need. So we need coal blocks, we need anvils, and we need of course the coarse dirt, and I think that's about it. We already had the polished basalt in our polished andesite in our inventory. Ugh. And we now have a long railway tunnel going all the way in that direction. And I have built a little bit of a train. It's slightly different from how I built it in my creative world because I've added in this little change over here, which I think looks quite nice. And now let's actually build the crane that is grabbing the amethyst out of this. And I might actually build two cranes, maybe one over here, one over here. So let's see exactly how I'm going to build this again. Alright, that's looking pretty good. And let's just make sure that this is actually on the ground, secure. Yep, I think this looks pretty good. So let's actually move on to the room here, which is actually going to be connected to this room. So they're basically going to be one room, but they're also going to be separated. So I've already place down the structure block. I'm not sure which way it's going to be facing, but let's just give it a try. Alright, and it looks like it is actually facing the correct way, so I appreciate that. Alright, now actually it may have been a good idea to also check on that side, because I think it might actually be better to just move it over by one block so we can put in the wall over here. So let's quickly change that. Alright, so now we have this room over here, but we also have this thing going around it. So let's see exactly where we can place this. And I think this is a good curve. And just like that, this room now has the final details in as well. Some lights, more of these arches, and of course a lot more amethyst. But yeah, I am having night vision on, so let's remove that. And as you can see, it's quite gloomy, but also very nice. And I like this room. And here, where we have the train, we do have tracks that lead all the way in that direction. But I'm still thinking, do I actually want to put anything at the end of this? Or do I just want to make it a dead end? If I do put something there, it's probably going to be like a secret passage or something, but I'm not sure. Also because it's so far away, it's going to be pretty hard to actually make a secret passage that leads to something, well, interesting or relevant. So now, with the exception of course, the ceiling details, this room is done, just like this one is over here. And the village room has also been completed. And it's looking rather interesting, seeing as this is going to be the entrance. You literally enter through the house. And this is the rest of the village room. Not my favorite village room, but I would say it's quite alright. And yeah, I made these houses fit at least. Which was pretty tough, as you can see they're almost touching here. And with that, rooms 1, 2 and 3 have been completed. There's still the treasure room over there, of course, that we have to complete. But also this room, that one, and that one over there. This one is going to be a door to the mushroom theme. That's going to be a door to the skulk theme. Or no, this one isn't. This one is going to be. And we still have to fill this one and this one. But I'm probably just going to do that off camera. And I hope you guys have enjoyed this episode. You know what to do. And goodbye.